Hey guys, this is No Solution. I'm Scott, and just got some bootleg CD collections to show today. I thought they might be of interest to some people, and I thought I'd get my customer review of them and if they're worth buying. But first off, I wanted to shout out my friend Kevin of the band Gravewurm that I speak about a lot. He has a YouTube channel that he has just used to post kind of live stuff from Gravewurm in the past. But just recently, he started making videos on camera explaining just basically the albums of Gravewurm and the different eras and going through his releases and talking about them. They're quite short videos, under 10 minutes for sure, but he's very good at explaining the mindset behind each album and kind of what he likes about them or maybe doesn't like about them. And as a fan of the band, it's been really cool to hear him going through those. And I've learned a lot. I learned stuff I didn't know. So if you're at all interested, or even if you're not, check him out and see what you think. He's very natural on camera and well spoken, and doesn't do the ums and ahs that I do and have just done like 15 times in this intro. So yeah, check it out. I'll leave a link below, and let's get on with it. So I was kind of enamored of these radio broadcast or alleged radio broadcast CDs that have been going around. There's a lot of them being sold on Amazon lately, which I thought was kind of weird because they're unofficial albums, aka bootlegs. So I was looking at some of them, and then I came across this one. It's called Black Sabbath Live on Air: The Early Days 8 CD set. Now this is you'll be stunned to know this unofficial release is quite misleading. It's called The Early Years, and if you can see the back there, probably not, but of these early years sets, we've got one from 1975, which I wouldn't really call the early years, but okay, and then one from 1970. Those are the only two of the 8 CDs that have Ozzy on them, as shown on the front. But what really intrigued me was we've got one from 1983, which is the Born Again tour, a show from 1989, the Headless Cross tour, another from 1990, another Headless Cross show, 1995 from the Forbidden tour, and then one from 92, the Dehumanizer tour. So I'll just show you kind of what this is. It just folds out here. We've got a picture of the Ian Gillan lineup, and then the it's 2 from the Ian Gillan lineup right there. We got one with Ozzy, and then it just folds out, and the CDs are just in these like wallet type sleeves. So I am a big fan of the Headless Cross album, so I was really intrigued to hear the live stuff from that tour. So that's kind of what prompted this. And then the seller who's selling these was also selling a ton of other ones, and if you bought one, you got one for 20% off or whatever. So I also picked up Guns N' Roses Live in the Jungle, another 8 CD set, and The Cure, The Best Days. These are advertised as public broadcast recordings, and this one it says radio broadcast. I believe this one says public radio broadcast. Obviously, these are all from the same manufacturer, but they all have different labels. This is Laser Media. This one is Radio Broadcast Music. And then the Guns N' Roses one says Top Music. But they're all obviously from the same entity. So when I think radio broadcast, I think like a concert recorded for the radio, and then this is a CD duplication of that. I'm not sure if these are actually radio broadcast recordings. There's no radio IDs or anything going on in here. One thing I did not expect is every track is separate. They don't run into each other. They fade out at the end of one song and then go into the next song starts and then it fades out. These are, to my ears, definitely soundboard recordings. They sound really good. I mean, a little rough here and there, but they're not, audience recordings where you're struggling to hear the band over some idiot Yahoo next to whoever was taping it screaming. So they're quality recordings. They're not usually complete shows, so there is that. So if you're looking for complete shows, these probably aren't for you. But overall, I really, really enjoyed these. What I don't enjoy, as a nerd, it only has the year. It doesn't have the date. It doesn't have the city or anything like that. And I thought, when I saw that, I was like, oh, well, you'll easily be able to tell based on, them saying the city. But when it cuts off after each song, there's not really a bunch of banter in between. So you do hear the cities sometimes, but not always. What was one of the noteworthy ones on the Black Sabbath one is which one is it here? The 1980 CD on here, which is obviously from the Headless Cross tour, is from a show in, I believe, Sydney, Australia, because there's a whole thing where Dio starts talking about some guy, a preacher or something, who wrote an article about how they're satanic and burn crosses, and apparently they burned a cross on stage, kind of to make fun of him, and that whole bit is in there. But yeah, I think if you're not looking for full shows and just like some good quality live recordings, these are kind of a cool thing to get. They're about $30 a piece, I would say. And then there are various discounts you can probably get. But I think they're worth it if you're into kind of bootleg recordings. This Cure one is really cool. It's got, I wanted to make note of this, buyer beware. CD 7 and 8 are supposed to be from the same show from 1996. CD 8 just is CD 7 replicated, and I contacted the seller, and he's like, "Yeah, it's that way in all of them." So there was nothing. I mean, you're buying bootleg, so I mean, I understand. There's really nothing the seller can do. It's just a manufacturing error and whatever. So you get 7 CDs on this instead of 8, or 2 copies of CD 7. But songs from 2008, 2005, 2 CDs actually from 2005, 1981, 2 from 1990, and then 1 from 96, which should have been 2, but kind of a cool look at the different set lists they were doing, the different eras, the different sounds. So I really enjoyed that one as well. And then the Guns N' Roses one, this one really pissed me off because there's absolutely nothing on all the CDs. You got to kind of figure it out for yourself. From what I could figure out, there are 2 shows from the Use Your Illusion tour. Both are 2 discs. One of them is pretty much complete. The other one's missing a couple songs. There is an acoustic recording at CBGB's, which has been there have been a lot of bootleg versions of that. I think from 87, 88, something like that. And then there are a couple, maybe 3 CDs from the Chinese Democracy tour that lasted 10 years because the album never came out. But still cool to hear, I think. I think that album is not very good, but there are some good songs on it, so it's kind of cool to hear versions of those songs because I'm pretty sure they don't play those anymore. So yeah, I think, and there's tons of these. There's a Judas Priest one, there's an Iron Maiden one. I would not be opposed to getting another one. I was really, really happy with these and really enjoyed listening to them all. So yeah, if you are into that, check eBay. Some of them might be on Amazon, but they're definitely on eBay. And like I said, about $30 a piece, something like that. Okay, let's get into some pornography. I was perusing one of the magazines I acquired. This is We from February 1979, and this is music related. So I just wanted to thought it was kind of funny. There's a little write up in here about the impending release. Actually, this is February '79. You know, the magazine dates tend to be ahead, so I don't know. But anyway, the impending release of Never Say Die, which came out in '78. So I don't know how close this was, but let's see. I finally decided that no longer would I wake up every day and drink 19 bottles of scotch and snort 2 grams of coke, says lead singer Ozzy Osbourne, explaining his departure 2 years ago from the world's premier heavy metal satanic band, Black Sabbath. And if you can see there, they spell Ozzy wrong. Ozzie. Which I didn't. Was it 2 years between Technical Ecstasy and Never Say Die? I didn't think there was, but okay, maybe. It seems Ozzy was overwhelmed by the overripe fruits of too much too soon rock stardom, but after this 2-year drying out period, he and Sabbath are out to spread their aural black plague once again with a comeback album called Never Say Die. And then Ozzy says, when our first album took off back in 1970, we didn't realize what was happening. At first, you act all of the roles of the typical rock star. You get the limousines and the fucking Learjets. Then at the end of the line, you've burned yourself out. You fucked as many groupies as you can, and there you are, clapped out and fucked out. Then you say, what next? Oz tried to form a band on his own. I don't remember that ever happening in any of the Black Sabbath books I've read, but okay. While his 3 fellow rockers, Geezer Butler, Tony Iommi, and Bill Ward, were trying to form a band with ex-Fleetwood Mac singer Dave Walker. They weren't trying to form a band. Dave Walker was the singer of Black Sabbath while Ozzy was gone. They made an appearance on a TV show doing Junior's Eyes, I believe. I have a recording of it somewhere. So yeah, it was a new band. It was Black Sabbath with Dave Walker. Both groups went nowhere. Oz's problem was getting in with some punks. He says the whole punk trip is sickening. It's demented music. On the new album, the band has toned down the heavy satanic image. It's been pretty toned down for a long time by then, but okay. This is Normies writing this. There are no more vampire-preventing silver crosses on stage, but Oz still does retain his trusty silver neck cross. It has sentimental value, Oz leers. It's been up a lot of fannies, you know. So I just thought that was interesting. I flipped through these. I'm not saying I read them for the articles, but I do flip through, and if an article is interesting, I do read it. So it's fun to come across something like that with, you know, someone writing about Black Sabbath who obviously has no fucking idea what they're talking about. Yeah, that's it, guys. I think headed to Montreal this week for the final Marillion weekend in Montreal. They're not going to do it anymore, and I'm glad I'm going, but it's going to be a bummer. This may be the last time I ever see them because they only tend to come over to this side of the world to do these weekends. And, you know, I don't care how much I love a band. I'm not flying overseas just to go see them. So this may be the last time, but I plan to make the most of it. Should be a fun time. And when I'm driving through Toronto at 4 a.m, I'm going to wave out the window to Brian and Tony. And I guess that's it, you guys. Let's close with this. I had a dream when the darkness was over, we'd be lying in the rings of the sun. But it's only a dream, and tonight is for real. You'll never know what it means, but you'll know how it feels. Thanks, guys. See you later.